White privilege check. I've got this friend who's black who said that every single time a cashier asks, "Do you want your receipt?" he says yes, grabs said receipt, and holds on to it firmly as he leaves the establishment because in the back of his mind, he is always aware that he might be accused of stealing. I myself, anytime I'm asked, "Do you want your receipt?" I say, no, because I hate paper consumption. And that's white privilege.
I grew up on food stamps with a single mom with 4 kids, clothes that never fit right, and then I went no contact with my parents the day after I graduated high school. And I have been completely on my own ever since. No financial support, no safety net, nothing. So when someone told me I had white privilege, I wanted to flip a table because I knew what
my son was playing football at school with some white kids and some black kids, and one of the black kids missed a catch. And one of the white kids said out loud, "Well, I bet if it was a certain type of food," I'm not going to say it, you know what I mean, "he would have caught it." And my son got in the car with my wife to go home and asked her what that meant. And it breaks my heart that we continue and will always have to continue to talk about these things with our kids. And it's so important that we do, but it's so sad. Racism, microaggressions, humanity, how we treat people. And this stuff is right in front of their face on the football field, in elementary school, good neighborhood. It doesn't matter. It's everywhere. And it made me think about white privilege. And it made me think about the fact that I think I've had it wrong. This whole time I've thought white privilege was about money, and it was about getting into college and getting jobs. And it is those things. But what I don't think I really understood was that white privilege was going through my entire life, never having to know what that kid felt like.
I grew up on food stamps with a single mom with 4 kids, clothes that never fit right, and then I went no contact with my parents the day after I graduated high school. And I have been completely on my own ever since. No financial support, no safety net, nothing. So when someone told me I had white privilege, I wanted to flip a table because I knew what my life had actually looked like, and privilege was not the word for it. And honestly, I think this is where most people get stuck. Because when you hear white privilege, your brain hears easy life. It hears trust fund. It hears handed to you. And if your life has not looked like that, the term feels like an insult. But that's not what it means, not academically. And the woman who introduced the term into the broader conversation was very specific about that. Her name is Peggy McIntosh. She's a scholar at Wellesley College, and in 1989 she wrote an essay called White Privilege, Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack. And in that essay, and in everything she wrote afterward, she was explicit. Her work was not about blame. It was not about shame. It was not about guilt. It was about unearned advantage, which she also described as exemption from discrimination. Read that one more time. Exemption from discrimination. Not a silver spoon, not a head start, the absence of a specific kind of obstacle that other people have to navigate. Someone finally explained it to me in a way that broke through. And I want to give you the same sentence they gave me. It's not about what you have. It is about the roadblocks you do not have to worry about. And once I heard it that way, I started seeing it everywhere in my own life. I had to walk in a bank with very little money, no cosigner, and no idea what I was doing to open my first bank account. That was hard, but nobody looked at me sideways when I walked in. Nobody asked me 3 extra questions. Nobody assumed I was there to cause a problem. I applied to colleges with no guidance counselor, no parents helping me write essays, no one proofreading my applications. That was hard, but my applications got read. My name on the top of that page did not get me filtered out before anybody saw my GPA. I've been pulled over before, and I was annoyed. I was worried about the ticket. I was worried about my insurance going up. I was not worried about whether I was going to make it home alive. That is the invisible knapsack McIntosh was talking about. It is the stuff you are carrying that you never had to put down at a checkpoint, because for you, there was no checkpoint.
This could cost me followers, and if it does, I'm okay, because I know I've lost the right ones. If you don't understand that white privilege doesn't equal financial privilege, there's a good chance it's because you choose to be willfully ignorant. White privilege doesn't mean that you grew up rich or that you didn't have a hard life. It's the concept that by the mere coincidence of you being born white or white presenting, that you have an inherent privilege. You're afforded certain benefits of the doubt that not everyone gets. It's the difference from a white person walking into a store and a customer salesperson walking up and saying, "Hi, can we help you find something today?" To a black person walking in that same store with that same customer service person following them around because they looked kind of suspicious. It's the black family that can't leave their family photos hanging on the wall when they're selling their house because the home appraiser might undervalue their house by as much as $500,000. And for sakes, you've never had to apologize for being white. Had your parents on a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday, you wouldn't even be you. Rather, just acknowledge that the system that was designed by and for people that look like you has never been a level playing field. I hope this made it clear.
I'm a racist in recovery. If you haven't seen me before, hi, my name's Janelyn. I have been talking about how I was born and raised in the deep South, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, raised to be a racist, and how I've been dismantling that for the last 15 years. If you like this content, give me a follow. If you have any comments or questions, please put it in the comments. I will respond to it. If you have any particular topics that you want me to talk about, leave those in the comments. Let's talk about white privilege. I think a lot of white people don't want to accept this concept. I get it. I get why. Like, I'm thinking, I don't have white privilege. I haven't had anything handed to me. I've worked for everything I have. I have worked my ass off, and life has not been easy. I've been through a lot of shit. I get that. But what white privilege is not, it's not having your life handed to you on a silver platter. It doesn't mean you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. It doesn't mean that you haven't worked really hard. It doesn't mean that you haven't experienced loss or failure. It doesn't mean that you haven't had significant obstacles to overcome. It simply means that the color of your skin did not add to those struggles. And I think this goes hand in hand with recognizing and admitting that we have systemic racism or racist laws, racist practices in this country. Because if you can understand that there is racist laws or racist culture, then you can understand why, as a white person, you would have white privilege. You are not subjected to those racist laws. I'm just hoping that somebody will see this and just understand a little bit better that the concept of white privilege, or you admitting that you have white privilege, does not negate any hard work that you've put into your life, and it doesn't negate your struggles or what you had to do to get where you are. It just means that people of color have another barrier in a lot of ways. I invite comments on the topic. I would love to have a dialogue with anyone that's interested in this conversation. Just leave it in the comments and we can certainly talk about it more.
We just went to the Gap, and the woman that was checking me out seemed very distraught, and I was like, how was your day? You know, like just trying to make conversation. And she was like, would you believe somebody just called me the N-word? Like, that is not okay. I tried to like continue my day and go shopping, and I cannot continue my day until I like go get this woman flowers or something. I feel sick over it. Now I'm gonna go drop it off. I don't know if it's cringy that I'm doing this. I don't know if it's the wrong thing to do.
There was just an employee here that helped check me out. That must have been the end of our shift.
As a white privileged woman, honestly, it's just something that I don't look around for every day, but it's happening every day. It's happening right under our noses in places that we go every single day. It's not okay. It is not okay. And we all need to do a better job.
And this is the part where I want to be really clear, because I know somebody is in the comments typing, but that's just anecdotal. It is not anecdotal. We have decades of research on this. Economists Marian Bertrand and Senthil Mullainathan ran a study where they sent out identical resumes to employers. Same qualifications, same experience, same education. The only difference was whether the name on the top of the resume sounded white or sounded black. The white-sounding names got 50% more callbacks. Researchers from Stanford, Harvard Business School, and the University of Toronto found that black applicants got callbacks about 10% of the time when their resumes included identifiers that signaled their race. When they scrubbed those identifiers out, the callback rate jumped to 25%. The applicants did not get smarter. They did not gain experience overnight. They just became less identifiably black on paper. That is a roadblock. That is a checkpoint. That is something a white applicant with the same exact resume never had to think about. So when I say white privilege, I am not saying your life was easy. I am not saying you did not work for what you have. I am not saying you owe anybody an apology for surviving whatever you survived. I am saying that whatever you survived without one specific category of obstacle stacked on top of it. And that is worth being honest about. You can have had a brutally hard life and still have an